Fourth wave. Okay, fourth wave was, okay, let me tell you what was fourth wave. Only the Middle East, the Arab world is said to be untouched by this democracy, because Middle East is a group of theocratic regimes where monarchs are living. Theocratic regimes, and they have their own monarchs, whether it is Iran, the Ayatollahs, or Saudi, the crown prince. Everywhere it is the same, more or less. So they were untouched by this democracy until 2011, when the Jasmine Revolution happened. The question came in your prelims, and I have discussed it yesterday. So not going to that detail. Soon after Tunisia, it spread to Egypt, to Libya. Hosni Mubarak was gone. Colonel Gaddafi was lynched by his own people. So it was felt that the smell of Tunisia is actually turning, bringing an oasis. Oasis, you understand, a place where you have greenery and water in desert. So they are saying that the oasis of democracy is ushering in the desert, is what they said. But it could not be the way it wanted to. The impact was not there, because it is said that the American intervention and the manifested interest of US turned Arab Spring into Arab summer. The summers of Arabic world is very intense. They reach up to 50 degrees Celsius. Can you beat that? So that's why I could not come there. It was because of the Western interest by US. Now, what was that you will study in your international relations, the IR part? So fourth wave, Middle East remained untouched by it. Okay. So these are the four waves of democracy, which a certain political analyst from US has summed for us. I just told you about it. Have you written anything in fourth wave? Anything, even a line or two if you have written? Right, Arab world, change the paradigm. Right? Arab world was only exception to democracy. Arab world was the only exception to democracy until the 2011 Jasmine Revolution. Until the 2011 Jasmine Revolution, which came in Tunisia, and soon engulfed the entire Arab world, full stop. Several regimes were changed, full stop. However, it is said that the American vested interest turned Arab Spring into an Arab summer. Written, all of you? Okay. Now you see the next thing, like what was happening in India. Arab summer, Aditya. Okay. Now let me read all your chats first. See, Arab summer means that democracy was not coming. It's always summer in Arab. Democracy was like spring. What do you mean by Arab Spring? Arab Spring means spring is supposedly pleasant than the summers. Come on, you people living in Hyderabad must be aware of it. I'm told that the heats are very intense in Hyderabad, right? So Arab Spring means spring is supposed to be pleasant for human beings. Respite from scorching heat and also from chilly winters. Spring is somewhere in between. So the onset of democracy, which was believed will come after Tunisian Jasmine Revolution, and it soon entire. This is the thing about revolution, that it is very contagious. Just like COVID, it is very, very contagious. So it spreads rapidly from one country to the other. So Egypt and Iraq and several, Syria, Libya, they were infected with the growth of democracy syndrome. So that was believed that now the Arab Spring will come. But supposedly America ruined everything, almost everything there, because America wants, oh my god, Aditya, America is not as good as you think. Forget oil. There were contrary claims that, see, America's, have you heard about Truman's doctrine? I think I've discussed it. Okay, there is this Truman's doctrine. It's a Cold War era doctrine. Truman was the president of US. He said that exporting democracy. Okay, so favorite item of export for US is exporting democracy, and it was countered by USSR through Brezhnev doctrine. Brezhnev was the head of state of US. BREZHNEV, Brezhnev doctrine, exporting socialism to countries, and they are exporting democracies to countries. So Truman doctrine was exporting democracy. So in the name of bringing democracy, they will intervene. So US exploits your fault lines. If you will give them fault line, they will come and they will say that we are breaking democracy. Now, both these Truman doctrine and Brezhnev doctrine, they are unsolicited. They come on their own. You don't ask for it. They are unsolicited advice kind of thing. So Brezhnev is gone because USSR has collapsed. So there is nothing like exporting socialism. China is doing it through other ways. That's different ball game. So Americans are still very fond of exporting democracy. And what they will do, they will bring a revolution, or they will bring instability. They want a civil war. See, this is what people say. And this is what, yes, like in Libya, Iraq, maybe in Afghanistan, maybe in Vietnam, they tried. And even in Cuba, they tried, but they cannot do anything they have still not been able to neutralize Castro. Fidel Castro died his own death, right? However, they killed this guy, that T-shirt guy, Che Guevara. He was killed by this CIA itself. So they will bring instability, and then they will, why this democracy? Because they will try to install a puppet regime. Okay, they will try to bring a puppet regime which dances on the tune of the US. If they were so much for democracy, they would have allowed the strongest leader to rule, the strongest democratic. What is democracy? Let the people choose their representatives. Why are you favoring your puppet? Okay, so this is what US has done everywhere. This is what Truman Doctrine was about. But it's kind of divide and rule. Aditya? Okay. No. America's vested interest is nowhere like you should have democracy. America is friends with Saudi. What is the position of democracy in Saudi? See for yourself, right? Now everyone is okay with this. Fourth waves, the four waves. And why? What were the this return waves? The exceptions. In first wave there was Germany and Italy, the return waves. In second wave there were colonies other than India. In third there were certain communist countries, China, North Korea, Cuba. These three primarily. And in fourth there is this Middle East, right? Now this information will be very useful for you even when you will be studying your international relations. I told you IR cannot be seen in isolation. IR has to have a mix of both. You know, your theories will come very, very handy there. Okay, now let us try to understand this from Indian framework. Let us try to understand this from Indian framework. I'll make certain flowcharts, and I'll write few small statements, small, okay, 2 to 3 lines, and our topics will be done. If you want, I'll send you separate PDF. If you think that, see, it's not important for you understand, that is well and good, but you need to write the answer. So if at all at any moment you feel that you are running short of words, okay, having understood everything, having copied everything, still if you feel that you are running short of words, don't hesitate to tell me, because I have ample material with me. I'm not bombarding you with all the materials. Eventually some of those materials will be shared with you. Okay, so don't think that you are running short of ammunitions, that we have understood, we have got everything, but how to write a 250 word answer, we don't know. That is never an issue. Okay, so let us try to make certain things now. Now the whiteboard will be seen, and I'll keep coming as and when needed. So you see this whiteboard, and you have to draw certain things here. You have to write certain things here. I hope all of you have got your pen and paper in place. Now it all starts with Indian democracy. We have to study Indian democracy in detail here. And of course, the story will go to Jawaharlal Nehru, and it is said that Nehruji, Chacha Nehru, as we call him lovingly. Okay, actually, it is you can write here. All of you can see what I am writing. The board is visible to one and all. Fine. Democracy in India. How and why democracy survived in India? Because we are such poor people, hungry people, okay, like third world countries. So how can it happen that we became pro democracy, and when everyone was not able to, all the third world countries could not manage democracy, how did India survive with democracy? You know, even let me tell you a very interesting thing. See, political science is laced with such interesting stuffs. It is me who has to, you know, contain myself from not sharing everything with you. The British imperialists said that India won't be able to survive for within next 10 to 20 years. India will kind of disintegrate, is what they said after 47. What happened is, for all of us to see, India has added. Can you name what India has added? Anyone? Of course, India has added to the treaty. Sikkim passed a resolution on their own. Sikkim was a protectorate between India and China. They passed a resolution on their own that we want to be a part of India. So the constitution was amended. Goa, Damandiu, Puducherry. Did India lose? Dehradun, yes. Did India lose anything? And what is happening in Britain? GB kya hai? What is GB? Gilgit-Baltistan has... Don't go to POK. The day it happens, we'll mention it. I hope it happens soon. The omens are good. So when it happens, POK and Gilgit-Baltistan and Muzaffarabad comes to us, becomes an India. You know, still when elections happen, India keeps the seats empty. If you see the Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha seats of Kashmir, now that there is no Vidhan Sabha, they are even keeping seats there. Okay, the seats are there that this belongs to us. So someday we'll have elections here also. Of course, it will be. It will be. But when? Let us not guess that. Okay, when it happens and how it happens. And so the thing is, India has added, and what is happening in Britain post Brexit? Brexit. Britain is no longer a part of EU. Now, why it is happening? That you will read in your international relations. You will study this in your IR. Now, Britain leaving this EU has intensified separatist movements in this Scotland and Ireland. Bhagat Singh was inspired by the Irish Republican Army. So Ireland, one party is in Britain, the other party is an independent country. They want to unite. Scotland is having issues. So now they are trying to approach Brexit, that we also want to be away from, we don't want to be part of Britain. Okay, there are separatist movements going on in these two parts, however not very intense, but there is an issue. So India has survived, India shall survive, and soon the parts that we are speaking of will belong to us. Okay, let us see when. So now let us carry forward with what we are doing. So how democracy survived in India despite all the apprehensions, let us write it. The preference of elites. Who were the elites? Nehru and others. Now, they did not want India to be, you can say that they were, however, he is often said that Nehru was a concealed dictator. But, and your NCRT has that famous cartoon, Don't Spare Me Shankar, right? Where he said that this cartoonist Shankar made a cartoon, and Nehruji knew that he was on the receiving end, and he told him, don't spare me, Shankar. But NCRT does not say that Nehru brought the first amendment. It was the first amendment which restricted freedom of speech and expression. I hope you know this. If you know, if you don't, then we shall study it in IGP. So yes, a concealed dictator, but he promoted institutions. Okay, so because of these things, India remained democratic. Other countries, it was not so. So despite having a concealed dictator sort of tendency, democracy was there because there were others also, and then there were periodic elections, and then where opposition parties were never banned. The communists were there, the RSS was there, okay, the Bharatiya Janasangh was there, the socialist parties were there. So yes, of course, he was strongest of all, but others were also functioning. Okay, now second, you can say the impact of freedom movement. Okay, so it's not only that we want to be free. There was an added fervor to it. It can be said to be, all of your writing depends, the biggest civil rights movement in the world. It was not only for making India free, it was also for, these was very important, right? Civil rights were very important. How blatantly British used to violate these rights. So this was always there. This element was always there, right? That's why it said that it was the, and when you have such a legacy, you cannot act anti-democratic all the time because you have been facing it. Okay, you have been kind of fighting for it all the time. So that is why this thing was always there. Impact of freedom, and then rulers were not. Nehru was not a complete dictator. At best, we can say this. And then of course he had a role to play, others were also there, right? So third thing you can say, now this might come as surprising, British legacy, but British brought the institutions, parliament, court, cabinet, etc, right? So they brought these institutions, they brought what is called parliamentary democracy. They gave us what is called rule of law. Okay, any questions anyone is having here? If you have any questions, then feel free to ask. Any questions here? The British legacy part is not tough. What was the source of parliamentary system to British? The Magna Carta, you can say. And again, for that you have to read ancient world and medieval world history, which is nowhere in your syllabus. But still, I will tell you something, that Britain is the first kind of, first modern nation state. There was something called Magna Carta that happened in 12th century, and then there was a civil war. Were you there in the class yesterday? I think I talked about these things yesterday, last class. So there was a civil war, and after that civil war, I have used a term, if you see your notes, that the absolute monarchy was restricted. Okay, the absolute monarchy was restricted. So this is where the parliament comes into being. Is it all right? All right, you understood? Sarvya, can I rub this now? All of you have noted? And of course, you will come across Indian traditions also. Indian traditions of Buddhist assembly, again, that you will see in your ancient Indian history. Next point would be the constitution. How? ECU, election commission. So there are several other institutions, CAG you can write. it ensures accountability, right? Now, because of Constitution, you also have opposition. Because of Constitution, you have, it translates into, remember your prelims. How many of you understood the last one? How many of you did not understand the last one? Have you seen the question? Prelims question. Constitutionalism means limited government and how it restricts the government. Savya, I have already made a video on this. I'll send it in the group. You can watch it. Still, if you don't understand, tomorrow we are having another class. You can ask me. Okay? Not by checks and balance. Constitution. See, in order to bring a law, you have to follow a procedure. First, the printed copy of the bill has to be given to all the MPs. Then there has to be discussion. Then there has to be a voting. Then the same procedure will be repeated in the next house. Then after it is done, it will go to the president. Then the president will sign on it. So all these are provisions enabled by the Constitution. You cannot make a law by skipping Constitution, by overshadowing Constitution. So all these methods, the processes where you have to sit with your fellow MPs who do not belong to your party. BJP has to sit with the Congress and the other opposition parties, discuss, debate. This is what limits the government. Limited government का मतलब हो गया ना, not absolute. Will a dictator do? Does Xi Jinping do all these things? He has to bring a bill. Whom will he ask? Whom will he discuss and debate? He can do whatever he wants. He's a kind of dictator. Will King John should do that? No, democracies will do that. Indian democracy will do that. So it is all right. So okay, I can rub this now. No good. The second thing you see, there is this point. These two are separate in India. They do not interfere, right? There has never been an attempt towards coup. Coup, you know, when coup happens, there is something called unta. Indian military listens to its civil masters and respects the civil masters, unlike Pakistan. Okay, Pakistan has failed because military and civil are here. India, set theory. I am explaining you through Venn diagrams. Oh my god, this looks very bad. Civil and military in India. Okay, this has been separate in case of India. This is the case of Pakistan. Even in the case of Bangladesh, India liberated Bangladesh, and within few years, the military threw out this guy Mujibur Rahman. He was the prime minister, and military of Bangladesh sided with the very country it fought for its independence. In the name of the secular word was removed from the constitution. Even the Supreme Court said that. So this is what happens when military and civil come together. In India, they are very different. Okay. Got it? You see, it is always believed that both these two things go hand in hand. You know, this means limited government because government is forced to act in a certain way. Government cannot act on his. I'm just opening the chat. I just saw a chat coming up. Where does this news come from? Shekhar Gupta. मैंने तब से उसका नाम शेखर गुप्ता रख दिया था. This guy, Shekhar Gupta. This is what I called him. He wrote this. PK Singh was the chief of army staff, Indian Army, and he said Dr. Manmohan Singh was the prime minister, and he said that he is marching towards Delhi. It was a fake news. Nothing like that happened. Nothing came out of that investigation. It was actually a figment of Gupta's imagination. Now, how can this guy do this? Will he be assisted by Navy, Air Force, Intelligence, Research and Analysis Wing, RNAW it is called. Okay. And why would he do that? Then he was to become minister in the next government. He fought elections. Yes, Indian Army is very professional. See, the roots of democracy in India are very deep. Indians themselves will not like these things. Though we consider army to be some sort of holy cow at times, but we don't think that, army can do anything and get away with it. Correct? That was a fake news. All that Shopian and all is impasse now. Okay, everything has gone. Shopian has also been unearthed, and things are a lot better now. There are vested interests trying to do things, but Indian military is way professional and it performs under a unified civil command. Indian Army had the patience not to cross the line in Kargil. Indian Air Force resisted after 26/11 when they said that we can conduct air raids into Pakistan, just tell us. Prime Minister, for whatever reason, said no. They said okay. And when the Prime Minister says shoo, when the Prime Minister shoos them, they go and bomb the hell out of the enemy. So it is up to the political establishment. Okay. So constitutionalism and rule of law will go hand in hand. Just you can make this. Limited government रहेगा तभी rule of law रहेगा, because if there is no limited government, if government is absolute, then this will be endangered. Government can do anything and everything, then rule of law might not survive. Right? Got it? Now there is another this guy. I have told you that we will keep referring to him in our optional, and he writes for Indian Express. Very critical of the incumbent government of now. He teaches political science in King's College, and he is some sort of authority on Indian politics. Heard about him? Ever read his columns? Anyone? This is what this guy says. He writes in Indian Express. See, I would like if you all read Indian Express. Please read this. I think I have told you the importance of Indian Express. If not, then some other time, but don't skip. So he says that Indian democracy is procedural. What does that mean? Rule of money instead of rule of law. Because money and muscle dominates election in India. Okay, so procedure, it just follows the procedure, is how he would say that. So that's his opinion, and we can keep all the opinions. Understood, all of you? No doubts, no kind of any confusion you have? I guess not. These are very, very simple stuffs, what I feel. China is not at all a democracy. That's the thing. China is no democracy. There are no actual elections here. There's just one party. Now let us see further. Jeffrey never calls China as a democracy. He points out the shortcomings of Indian democracy. Now you see that what are the theories of democracy? Okay, what are the... Achha, how about writing a short note on constitutionalism, 2 to 3 lines, make a blog or write somewhere like this? We should, because you all are optional students. It's not enough to know this term. And they are asking these things in your prelims exam. So why not know it in a better way? Yes, I'll come to it, Vishwanath. I'll come to it. You are very correct. What you are observing is very correct. I'll discuss it also. Note it down, all of you. Okay. All of you written it? Okay. Now, answering your questions for now. Vishwanath Sai has asked a very pertinent question. Very good question. And Aditya has also said few exceptions with majority. 20 wins in 2 days. Now, try to understand this. Okay, I need to switch on my camera and appear. Yes, you can. So these 20 bills in 2 days. Why it happened? Because the opposition was not letting the parliament to function. Now you see, there is a important debate going on, and a farm bill, a bill has been passed. 3 ordinances have turned into bill regarding the farmer and everything. I hope you are aware of it. The APMC and everything. Should I someday make a video on that? So these bills have been passed, and they were 6-month-old, 4-5-month-old ordinances, which means the laws were already operational. Of course, to bring a law, you need to discuss it. So the opposition should have challenged the government on the floor of the house, that how this bill is anti-farmer. Correct. That is what opposition should have done. Let there be an enlightened debate. Put your point. Let the agricultural minister or any other minister from the government side respond to you, and let people of India discover for themselves who is correct, the government or the opposition. Who cares about the farmers? This is how democracy should work. The spirit of the constitution, the spirit of democracy. Instead, they started clapping like this, the opposition members. And right inside what Derek O'Brien did, he threw the rule book and on the face of the deputy chairman. Is this how democracies work? And what should have deputy chairman done? He should have, if I were deputy chairman, I would have handed him 501 rupees then and there. Shagun hamari taraf dete hain, koi aise dance karte hain. The thing is, deputy chairman had no option but to suspend them. And then he went with tea also. I don't know what. So in that circumstance, opposition knew that they are not having the numbers. Try to understand this entire game. Come on, you are a student of political science now. Opposition knew that they are having no numbers. So a debate would be futile because the votes will go in the favor of the government. Correct? Government also knew that they are trying to create scene. So why to have a debate at all? They are serving the government. You know, they are making things easy for this government. That is not the job of the opposition. Opposition should question, should grill the government in the house. If you know that this bill is anti-farmer, why don't you speak for few minutes or maybe few hours? Let TMC have a call, let Congress have a call, let Sanjay Singh's Aam Aadmi Party have a call. Get your time allotted by the chairman, he has to do that. And then you highlight which provisions are draconian. Let India watch it. Let the government respond to it. Let India also watch it. But you know that you don't have points. This bill looks good to me. In theory, this bill looks very good to me. How it is implemented, it depends. But if opposition knows something that me and you do not know, that should tell us in the house. Why creating scene inside the house? That way government is bound to, the chair is bound to send you off. He should have been marshaled out. He was attacking the marshals also, few rowdy MPs. And you are, come on, you are representing India. You are honorable MP. You are supposed to make law for India. So government had a clean sweep. Government knew that now they are gone. Let me just push up the bills. 2 days and 20 bills. That is not good for democracy. But then that behavior that opposition is engaging in certainly worse for democracy. I would any day prefer a government that passes 20 bills in 2 days without discussion than opposition tearing rule book and throwing on the chair. My video is being stuck, as in there would have been a compromise on rule of law if opposition comes armed with all their arguments. The opposition members are asking for their turn to speak. The chair refuses to allot that. That did not happen. Opposition comes armed with all the facts and figures and the likely impact it would have, how farmers there would suffer in Punjab or maybe in Andhra Pradesh or maybe in Bihar and any part of India. And then they bombard the question. And then when the government says that I'm not willing to answer because you are correct, so I'll marshal you out. I'm asking the chair to marshal you out, and now I'll pass the bill. That would have been draconian and a compromise on the rule of law. But that was not the case. Opposition deserved to be thrown out. Come on, dancing around, clapping, standing on the high school students don't do this. And you are making laws for India. Did any of you tear your notebook and throw on the face of your teacher as college or school student? I guess not. And here you are throwing the rule book, you are tearing it upon and throwing it on the face of the deputy chairman. Come on, constitutional post, have some respect for it. And entire India is watching you. So they are giving the license to kill to the government. Government will utilize it. Why would a government want to discuss the merits and demerits, the comparative virtues of its own bill? Government would always say my bill is best. They would never like the opposition to point fingers and say, see, here is the mistake. Why don't you better remove it? Government try to empathize with the government also and try to empathize with the opposition also. Government would prefer that bill is being passed like that without any discussion. If there's a loophole, no one will notice it. Opposition is giving the chance to the government. Okay, that's why I would still believe that rule of law is in India, and opposition serve this on a platter to the government. Force out, rush on the bills. There has to be an alternative, right? There has to be a speaker from the opposition who, when stands up and speaks, entire government would listen to him with pin drop silence. That he might point at something important. He might grill us at something. No such person. Instead, they are engaging into rhetorics. They are dancing on the house. Also, post-implementation, a bill, an ordinance was passed. So, of course, it was there in the public domain. And then instead of discussing, opposition is creating nuisance. So government is capitalizing on that nuisance. Now let us discuss it further. We have already written this constitutionalism. You need to be very thorough with it, and you need to understand it also. And you have understood it. Now classical and contemporary. This is how we divide them. This is also called normative. And what it does, emphasize on values of democracy. Okay. Now, what happens here? There is this protective model. Okay, can further be divided into protective and developmental model. So when you come to protective, they have the people like John Locke, Jeremy Bentham. See all the utilitarians, and you will have J.S. Mill. Now, what they say, what protective say, they say they look democracy as a means to protect the right of the people. Protective model will say they protect the right of the people, okay, because democracy is based on consent. You elect, majority elects through consent, right? Now Mill would say democracy is a system, it's a system that gives opportunity for development of human beings. You know, he was a firm believer of freedom of speech and expression and everything. So only where will the freedom come? Freedom can come only through democracy, right? Please make this quickly written, all of you. I can rub it. I guess all of you have made this flowchart. Fine. Now this contemporary one, contemporary theory of democracy. It is actually, based on verifiable observation. What is one word for this? Can anyone tell me? Verifiable observation. Please tell me. Very good, Krishna. Yadaya. Empirical. So contemporary theory is based on empirical understanding. what you see around you. Okay, so here you would have an elitist. Now they would say that the empowerment of mass, they will look on the procedural aspect, not possible, not desirable for masses participate in governance beyond elections. That is what they would say. That you have casted your vote, now stay in your house. So they are form of kind of electoral form of democracy. That once it has happened, it's over. So that emphasizes on the procedural aspects. Only on the procedural aspect. Got all of you? Can rub this now? They focus only on the procedural aspect and they believe that everything is happening. Now the votes have been casted, the people should stay away. Let those who have won, no accountability, don't ask questions. I can rub it? Okay. So beyond elections, nothing. Now again, here you will have these pluralists. In contemporary, one was the elitist, other would be pluralist. So second form has further classification. Like first form has protective and developmental. In classical, in contemporary, you have elitist and pluralist. Now, what would pluralist say? You know it. Same what they said in pluralist theory of state. Can you tell me? Because we have done this. Those who have done this must answer. बताओ. Division of sovereignty. Yes. किसमें होता है division? What are the factors of division? See now. Pressure groups की बात करेंगे ये. Pressure group politics की बात करेंगे. That there must be certain pressure groups that will pressure group हो गया, or it can be like your FICCI, CII, Federation of Indian Commerce and Commerce Chamber of Industries, Confederation of Indian Industries, Bharatiya Kisan Sangh, Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, Agarwal Samaj in Delhi. That would be a pressure group. Tam Bram, you must have heard about it. Very influential people. Srinivasan, Subramaniam Swamy, Tam Bram group. Okay, heard about it or not? You must have. Come on. So these are the pressure groups who would say, yes, who would say that my community or my FICCI would talk about businessmen, CII, Agarwal Samaj regarding some baniyas, Mazdoor Sangh regarding the workers, Kisan Sangh regarding the farmers, Tam Brahmins regarding the Brahmins. So that's a pressure group. So they would say that elitist, pluralist would say that there must be certain pressure group. There must be a Kisan Sangh, there must be a Mazdoor Sangh, there can be an Agarwal Samaj, there can be a CII, Chamber of Indian Industries. So they will keep pressurizing. They are plural. Plural means more than one. Okay. Now, so that is what they would say. Let there be a pluralist form, and all these pressure groups, they must participate. Okay, field your candidates, fight elections. Okay, same thing that we saw there in the theory of state, almost similar. Everyone understood? I can rub it now. Now you see, there's this guy Macpherson. He would prefer classic theory. Why? It emphasizes on the substantive aspect of democracy. What is that? Empowerment of people by giving them political rights, of course. It would talk about the values of democracy. What are the democratic values? Participation, universal adult franchise, multiple parties, timely elections, everyone voice being heard. Okay, but again he would also criticize for ignoring the real world of democracy. He would say, write it down. All of you wrote it. Now you see. Now he would also, Macpherson would criticize this contemporary theory also. He will criticize this contemporary model. Why would he do that? For it ignores the substantive aspect, focuses only on the procedural aspect. It would say. He would say that elitist and pluralist are same. He would also say that why? Because in pluralist also you are having a group. The CII, the Bharatiya Kisan Sangh, the Bharatiya Mazdoor Sangh, or a group. So this group is nothing but a combination of elites. It would say it is a combination of elite. Few traders have captured CII, few farmers have captured BKS, and few workers have captured the Mazdoor Sangh. Okay, so they have become elite, right? So he says that there is no kind of any different thing involved here. Okay, did you understand Macpherson theory? Any question anyone is having? Now there are another points that he says, like Macpherson would say that people mostly equate liberalism with democracy, right? So Macpherson would say that the thing is wrong. it has no monopoly over democracy. He would talk about communist model, but there is a condition that he says that there has to be intra-party democracy. What is intra-party? Within the party, right? So if the Communist Party of China has his Levin Jinping, right? Communist model of democracy because liberalism is not subject to. Okay, leave that. All of you note this. I'll explain it. All of you note this. And when you have noted, then let me know. When you have noted, just let me know. Can I rub it? Now listen. What Macpherson says that it's wrong to say because most of the what we say liberalism is going to come only when there will be democracy. So liberalism and democracy have this concomitant relationship between themselves. Liberalism complements, and a democracy has to be liberal. And liberals are are a must Democrats. So that he says that no, liberalism has no monopoly on democracy. There can be a communist model of democracy. Now, what is this communist model? We have studied Karl Marx, and there you see that he does not believe in democracy. He believes in democracy only when it is, tell me, one stage, the penultimate stage. Forgot. Yes, socialism, the dictatorship of proletariat. Because then state, instead of being a class instrument, is becoming a mass instrument. Come on, proletariat is ruling, majority are the proletariats. So then only he believes. So for a country like China, Mao Zedong brought communism in China in 1949, and today Xi Jinping is sitting there as the lifelong chairman of the Communist Party of China. So here Macpherson says that communist model can work when there is intra-party democracy, democracy within the party. Inter is outside, intra is within. No, inter-school tournaments an intra-tournament between the different classes of the same school. So he would say, let there be democracy within the communist parties. Like if you want to, every 4 to 5 years, there must be an election for the chairman post. So it's wrong that Xi Jinping has elevated himself to the level of a lifelong chairman of Communist Party of China, because there will be no elections as long as he's alive. Got it now? This model can work, but then the condition is that communist parties must have internal democracy. There must be committees, there must be filing papers, nomination papers for filing the post of the chairman, and then they would kind of stand up. The committees would wait. The party cadre would vote. Whosoever wins the election will be the chairman. That does not happen in communism. All right. So I think it is all right till here. All of you have understood whatever has been conveyed. Any questions here? Okay. So coming back to your optional is doing very fine. As what I believe, because Krishna, there is nothing to be unclear. The thing is that communists do not have intra-party democracy. Macpherson is saying if they bring intra-party democracy, there will be a communist model as well. There are cadres in communist parties. Okay, the Politburo is the highest decision-making body of the Communist Party. Like every party has this parliamentary committee who gives tickets to the various people from the party. Similarly, communist parties have Politburo. In India also we have a Politburo in Communist Party. So that Politburo must be having different secretaries and a chairman of the party. Then there are cadres. Okay, so let all these cadre heads, there are different wings of any political party: the economic wing, the political wing, the various SC/ST wing, okay, the farmer wing, the Mazdoor wing, the student wing, right? So all these wings should vote for their respective leaders within the party. Who will be the next chairman of the CPI? Let all the committed registered cadre of CPI vote for it. Got it, Krishna? Now, he's saying that liberalism has no monopoly over democracy, the way liberals claim that only liberals can have democracy. No, even communists can have democracy. He's saying your claim is wrong. The day communists have intra-party democracy, then there will be no monopoly of liberals on democracy. Did you understand? Good. So are you seeing the previous year questions? I have already forwarded it in your Telegram channel, that optional question paper. Are you all seeing it? That is different thing, Aditya. If there is some other party that is not, he's talking about a communist model of democracy. What happens to other party is not concerned here. Okay, have you guys seen the question papers? Please see and find it out yourself if you are able to attempt previous year questions. If based on our class discussion, the class notes and the material that is provided to you at regular intervals, the PDF files, will you be able to write a 150 word or a 250 word answer as asked in the question? I will wait for your answers. Okay, it's not enough to understand things. I want that confidence that you can write things. So please do that and let me know if you come across anything and don't read everything. Just read those things which we have already covered. See if you can write, or it gives you a confidence that if you read everything and revise everything properly, you will write a very good answer and get very good marks. Original position as in, yes, Krishna, you can do that. Original position as in, please elaborate. I need to see which one are you talking about. Maybe it's there in something that we have not discussed yet. Acha, in political theory. Okay, I got it. Okay, wait. We have not done that. We have not done that. If you feel that you need a few more words, then it is time to give you some other sources as well. Okay, I'll soon send something more for you to read. There was this question someone asked in the start of the beginning of the class. I told you that I'll answer it in the end. What was the question? Please ask that again. Let me check the slides one.
Sir, it's about God's idea of justice in Plato.
God's idea of justice in Plato. Okay, now I think I can see it also. See, Plato talks about the just state. Okay, and his just state, it's like he gives a very prominent place to justice. Have you done that, Plato? You have done. Were you there in the Plato class?
Yes, sir.
The Sparta question, that he wanted to restore the glory of Sparta.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so there he says that justice will come, and he compares that justice is like, it's divine. Justice is divine. So justice, the king has to bring that, because he believes in that divine right theory. You can recall what is that divine right theory. He was not happy with the prevailing conditions in Athens, and he was very much kind of trying to change that, trying to bring the glory days back to the Athens. So then he says that if people keep meddling, people keep kind of a ruler is there, a monarch is there, and people are trying to put perspective into his law. That is not going to work. Let the ruler function accordingly. And ruler is sent by God. He will usher the justice. He will bring the justice. So his divinity, the idea of divinity is in his theory of kinship is referred as the God's idea of justice. There was this question, I guess, in your main exam, right? Was it so?
No, sir. Actually, I was revising. So there I just got a little confused.
From our notes in the class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I have seen this somewhere in exam also. There is some PCS paper or UPSC. I need to check again. No, not UPSC. Maybe in UP PCS it was there, or maybe in Rajasthan. He says that, he also says that goodness resides in the soul of the human being. He's an idealist. So what he believes, he wants the world to act accordingly. There he invokes God, that let the ruler do what he wants to do, else chaotic situation will occur. In thinkers also you are having issues, all of you. Please let me know that you see questions and you are unable to answer that, or you have understood but you think that you need to know more. Is it so? This thing is coming in thinkers also. Yes, which part are you facing this problem? In any particular thinker? That's what I want to know. I can help it if you let me know that in which part. Others, I think most of you have not revised. Take your time. And that's what I'm asking. In all that you have running short of words, you have understood it, but you are unable to write 250 words. Okay, then so you have that PDF with you. Please try reading from that. We gave a PDF in the beginning of the class. Please, I'm requesting all of you at least read the thinker part. Start with Western or Indian, whichever you like, and then see if you can touch the 250 words. Please do that in 4 to 5 days and let me know. Right? I'll wait for it. And I've already made a video on the prelims questions of polity. I'll just upload it on my YouTube and I will send it in your group. Do watch it. Though we have not covered polity, but there are very obvious questions and there are certain questions which are slightly complicated. Now, why some questions are being asked, I have answered that also. They have asked this question on the MP lads. Now, why they have asked, please see that, because there was something regarding MP lad that was making news. So anything I am repeating that is in your syllabus and is making news, automatically UPSC is going to pick it up. 1 year or 2 years. Okay, so they have asked this question again. Like they asked that Hadia question when that case was going on. No issues, not a very big deal if you don't recall how many years. But then the thing is, it was making news and it's in the question. So I'll soon send it to you all. Please watch it, please revise, and tomorrow we are meeting again.